Is not an alien force already among us?
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
From some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe.
Welcome to S4.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to S4, the official radio broadcast of Forest Moon Paranormal, with host Eric Cooper and our panel of enlightened minds. Coming to you live from FMP headquarters located in the heart of Skagit Valley, Washington, at the base of the majestic North Cascade Mountains. We will take you through a journey of exploration as we examine every aspect of the metaphysical. From spirits, UFOs, Bigfoot, and conspiracies, to grounding, protection, astral travel, and everything in between, leaving you with a better understanding and comprehension of the world around you, and the entities that inhabit it. Join us every Saturday night at Spreaker.com and locally on KSVU 90.1. Don't forget to check out our new webpage at www.s-4radio.com. Now sit back, open your mind, get ready. This is S4.
Good evening or morning, depending on where you are, and welcome to S4, the voice of Forest Moon Paranormal, coming to you live from FMP headquarters in the heart of the Cascade Mountains in Concrete, Washington. FMP is a highly active emergency response team for all aspects of the paranormal, from aggressive hauntings to alien interaction, Bigfoot and other cryptids, and everything in between is terrifying. S4 is the voice where we discuss these things in detail. Not only can you find S4 right here on Spreaker, but for our local listeners, also on KSVU 90.1 FM from 10 to 12 Saturdays with pre-recorded shows. So, can you believe, folks, it's already July on Monday, and tonight it's the 29th of June. It's time for Roundtable. This is where we kick back and just bring questions to the panel, along with answering you, our listeners' questions. And tonight, it's our normal FMP panel, along with some special guests. Tommy from the Military Veterans Paranormal, so looking forward to tonight. I've listened to their live shows, and they're a great group, real sticklers for the truth, and have a high ethic as FMP does. So I always like to support good teams. Tonight with us, we have Cole Wegleitner, our FMP technical analyst and owner of Statement of Sound DJ Services, Chris and Brent Dodge from the FMP Extended Care team and the Astral team, Thomas McAleer from our Boots on Ground team, and Thomas from the Military Veterans Paranormal. All right, so how are we doing tonight, guys?
Perfect.
Doing good.
Outstanding. And
how are you, Coop?
Oh, I'm tired. So last night we had bingo, for those that don't know, that aren't from the community. And it was a great event. Actually, I think we did better than I expected, or anticipated, actually. What about you, Cole, Thomas, Brent?
I think we did great as a team.
there was a lot of events going on this weekend, and that hurt us a little bit with the people that came, but we had a great amount of people that came. Like, the people that came were wholesome, awesome piece of people. So
Yeah.
We really did.
Honestly, when I saw that the Lager Rodeo was going on, I was like, okay, we ain't going to have anybody show up. So I thought we did great with what did.
Well,
True.
you've got serious bingo players, and they're not the rodeo type, so they're going to go to bingo. If you offer bingo, they're going to come, because we made sure that we didn't conflict with any other bingo sources, like the VFW, like the Rockport bar. They all do bingo as well. So I wanted to make sure that we looked at the event schedules and made sure nobody else is doing bingo in our county. So there you go. And next week's going to be crazy, because next week we got the parade we're getting ready for. I'll be done with school tomorrow for this class, and then I start critical thinking on Monday, and so, yeah, school must go on. I got to write a PowerPoint on Jihad. Not my cup of tea. I'm tired of studying 9/11. I'm tired of studying Islamic terrorism when we have just as many radical extremist groups here in our own soil that are non-Islamic. So I know it's not paranormal, but it's also what we do here on FMP is disaster preparedness and education, extremist education, things of that nature. But I'm tired. Islam is not the only terrorism that's out there, which is why we, on S4, we do seasonal disaster preparedness teaching, and we do, like in August, S4 is going to be on extremist groups, terrorism response, and active shooter. So we do branch out. But yeah, I've got to do a PowerPoint on a bunch of jihad questions. And I don't know, I'm not going to talk about it here on the show. Tonight we're doing a roundtable. But yeah, it just gets frustrating because I'm trying to do school as well as get ready for shows, as well as FMP issues, as well as concrete upriver issues. And yeah, it just gets, your mind gets
a little confusing on which issue is which.
Right. So, the first hour, I kind of wanted to focus on Tommy, because I want our listeners to hear about the Military Veterans Paranormal, because you guys are a great group. I'm impressed by your the shows that you guys do. You're serious. You don't sit here and go by Paranormal TV. In fact, you hate Paranormal TV as much as we do. So I want to... how did the Military Veterans Paranormal get started?
So, basically, we established 2013. We had other teams that we all decided to come from. One majority team, just veterans and spouses, that kind of thing, that got involved. And then it branched off into what we made as Military Veterans Paranormal. Again, established in 2013. We're an all-veteran, but we accept, active duty, reserve. So we gather together, and the reason why, and we always get asked, why don't we bring anybody outside? Well, again, it goes with the name being said. We kind of grew a bond, if you get what I'm saying, from deployments and training together, that brother and sisterhood, just being in the military itself. It doesn't matter about a certain branch. Mm-hmm. We understand about the whole, honor, duty, respect, loyalty, selfless service, and we bring that into focus within our team itself. So we rely on each other, and that is the biggest factor with any team that I've seen out there. Is even, we always rely on each other. So it's not just the military side of it, but the military aspect, though, is we depend on each other. Life, limb, or eyesight, there might things that I might not see that my battle buddy sees and protects me overseas. Well, we bring that into this organization. we tried to hold, with being in the military and stuff like that, we hold ourselves in the highest standards, and we truly refuse to compromise our integrity, and we aim towards the thinking and the methods in paranormal within that field, and we try to provide accurate and the best paranormal research that we could possibly provide for whoever it is at that time. I know that's a long answer, but that's honestly the justification of everything that we have.
Oh no, I can fully understand it. I mean, being a combat vet myself, and I've said on the show before, I think combat vets are the best equipped and the best fitted for paranormal because of the fact that when you've been shot at, when you've been in a combat zone, a spirit, aliens, Bigfoot don't scare you like someone that hasn't experienced combat before. That's another thing, along with the standards and the warrior ethos that we go by.
I agree. Definitely, I agree with that.
And, and Chris is going to chuckle, but you look at someone like Zach Baggins or, Ghost Hunters, and you got a director that's pulling the door and kicking a rock and whatnot in the background. No. And then you see him screaming and running out the door. I'm sorry, I'm going to go running in there.
So I'm glad.
Oh, yeah, that's the way I'm going to be running.
Ghost Adventures. We brought out to the community several evidences or data towards Zach and his team and different things that went on, and Zach didn't like it, and of course we got hit up on that one, and Mel does what Mel does and puts out the research and all the data that he finds, and I know Jason and Grant personally, like not like friendship level, but I have met them time and time again. I even stayed up at their inn up in Massachusetts, and and I used to watch their show, and intriguing wise, I read most of their books, not the latest ones, but I read their early stuff on how to build up a team and stuff like that, so I could get ideas and pointers. And that's the biggest thing about a paranormal team that I feel is the research. It's not just educating yourself, but it's the research behind what you're getting into or what claims have been there. But also in the same fact, with our team, it might be Mel doing the research behind everything, or sometimes it'll be two of us that actually goes for, the interviews and stuff like that. But the rest of the team doesn't know what they're walking into. They're blind. And it gives us raw data from that without compromising that area. And so talking to Jay and Grant, that's what they used to do. And I don't know what season it was, but when Grant left the show, if you notice now they got a bunch of spooky music. And now it's like, well, I wouldn't say now, but it was. I quit watching it because that season just became so fake to me that I was like, all right, I'm done. And let's see. I've known a lot of people that still watch Ghost Adventures, and I look at it, man, and there's just so much behind it that video editing and stuff like that they did, that it just throws the community backwards, and I believe that. Go ahead. I heard somebody trying to chime in.
Well, you can't take 3 days of shooting, because we get contacted by these shows frequently about, can you give us some clients so we can bring their story? No, I can't.
We got hit up just recently, and they named some high level people. They said, hey, this is for the show. And Mel straight up told them, like, no, we do not give residential names or addresses out, period.
No.
That's not us.
No. And if a client wants to, I don't even go to the clients, because all they're going to do is be exploited.
No, we don't even waste the time.
No. All it is exploitation for ratings, and I don't play that game. Our client information is completely confidential. We do it free of charge. And
we feel like it's a mistrust violation.
Oh, hands down.
Because in the agreement of doing the residential, we will not tell. We will not give up addresses. We will not do any of this. And I feel like it's a mistrust. And the team believes that the same way, So I agree totally with what you're saying.
I can't tell you how many cases we've had, because for a while we were doing 5 cases a day because we're global. It's slowed down.
Yeah.
We get probably 2 or 3 cases a week now. But I can't tell you how many cases we've done where they've actually had. And one of the questions in our questionnaire is, has anyone else checked out your situation? But by the time they find out, or by the time they reach out to us, they've already had 2 other teams come in. I remember specifically 2 or 3 specific cases where they had one team that came in and, oh my God, there's something here, and they went screaming out the door, and the client could never get a hold of them again. The other team, they just couldn't do anything to help.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because we've dealt with this before where people were ready to pack up and move out of their house.
Yeah.
And you brought fear into this family for what? What did you get? And nothing. And I'm not saying that their data wasn't nothing. What I'm saying is that you're striking fear in people that truly is afraid. Most people watch those shows so they can have that scared kind of adrenaline rush. And it's like watching horror movies. I love horror movies, but my son can't stand to look at the screen, and I don't know. I enjoy it. I'm not saying it's enjoyable watching people die. What I'm saying is that to me, it's a different fear or a thrill factor to me.
Right.
But to tell a resident that their place is haunted, you must have the data to prove behind that, and that's how I look at it. Now, in our talk shows, we brought up about that, and it's people who make claims about being haunted. We went back in, and we don't worry about what other teams have said or anything like that, but we try to reassure the clients, especially if they call us. We show them what data was there. It's not evidence. It's
right.
Data, because our data gets sent out to, colleges or universities, professors, people who practice in their field for audio, video, film photography, all this stuff, and it gets compiled from them, and their data notes, their notes come back to us and into the report so we can submit it up for other teams to view and look at. And there was a website. I tried to look for it last night. It was supernatural phenomenon, paranormal, where you could submit reviews and they would look at all your collective data from well-known sources from these professors and universities and campuses, and it would come back, and it would just be collected. And I'm trying to think of I can't think of the guy's name, but he brought up another site that used to actually collect everybody's data and be sent off, but it's been years. And like I said, trying to get a community together to be cohesive to send off that data would be helpful, but you're not helping the client by saying, hey, your place is haunted, you should move out. No. I don't know if that's happened to you guys, but like you said, we visited several places that had multiple teams that investigated right. way before us. So, yes.
Well, and I want to bring up the other point, too, because that's one point we always bring up is, now you've actually made the fear of the client even worse. The other aspect you got to look at, too, is if there is something there, now you've pissed it off even more. You stirred it up. Because one of the things you see in paranormal TV is let's go call it out. Let's go instigate it and make it talk to us.
Let's go provoke.
Exactly.
The whole provoking thing?
Yeah. Where's the respect? We're all about respecting the spirit, respecting the entity, the fairy, the whatever the case is, as well as respecting the client. And we've been called out before. Who made you guys the judge and the jury and the executioner? We don't. We try to get to the root cause, and if it's something that shouldn't be here, then we put it back. And then you've helped out whatever shouldn't be here, and you also helped the client. And
I mean, you wouldn't. Well, like you said, you wouldn't go into a bar and well, maybe some people, but you wouldn't go into a bar and just pick a fight if you didn't know what you're doing, or go to the woods and start poking a bear with a stick. That's provoking. Like,
it is.
What do you think's going to happen? And you're right, and some people believe that provoking a spirit can actually be harmful. So I see that side of it.
Right. We got a question from Kayla in the chat room. Is your team comprised of U.S. veterans or other countries' veterans as well?
It's all U.S. Currently. So it's just, like I said, we've got everybody right now is all veterans, but we had active duty. Of course, I just retired in July after 20 years, so I was active duty and on this team.
Okay. And it's probably hard for active duty due to PCSing and ETSing and whatnot as well.
It's definitely a lifestyle change. I was pushing for 30 before they started noticing things that were going on in my body, and then the Army was like, well, you got 20 years in. Thank you for your time. Time to go. So, dealing with PTSD, I thought it would be the best solution to move back home to Virginia. And, I've been here with my family for about a year now, and I have a house that's at Fort Campbell, and come October, I'm moving back to be around soldiers again, because that's where I feel like where I'm needed at.
Right. I got you. We live in the mountains where there's if I want to be away from people, I can. And
that's how it is here.
Right. And if
maybe not as high mountains like you guys do and beautiful trees, but I mean, we got beautiful trees, but we got squirrels that look like cats. They're just as big.
Right. So with you guys, do you guys deal solely with hauntings, or do you guys look at Bigfoot, aliens, UFOs, and whatnot?
And that's a good question, because, as being in the paranormal field, your beliefs, and that was going to be one of my questions, is like, how far does your beliefs go within the paranormal field? Aliens, UFOs, Bigfoots, Chupacabra, mermaids, vampires, wolves, demons, angels, that kind of stuff. Like, how far do you think your thing goes? Because you have to believe with aliens that we're not the only creatures in this universe, all right? As far as Bigfoot, there has to be some kind of folklore that brought it around. My mom always taught us that within a lie, there's some kind of truth. So you got Yetis, Bigfoots, and I just lost my train of thought. I was reading my own writing on my tablet. But was it Animal Planet? Yeah, Animal Planet had that mermaid special, and I DVR'd both these specials about the mermaids, but there's a lot of questions there, like sharks and stuff, and whales having certain spears attached to them back in, the 1800s. Matter of fact, you can see them in the Smithsonian Museum up in D.C. Like, explain it. Now, I would love to take a sub down and stay like in a place and investigate and try to see if that's a true fact or, some kind of proof. But, growing up as a kid, I always wanted to be a vampire. I'd stay up all night anyway, so I wouldn't mind. And then, lo and behold, the TV show Supernatural comes out, which my niece loves. Oh, and they got a whole different aspect on werewolves and vampires and stuff like that. And
Supernatural went downhill. I mean, the first 2-3 seasons, we've talked about this on S4 a few times. Supernatural was great the first 2-3 seasons. And then all of a sudden, how many times
are you
going to die?
Supposed to be 5 seasons.
How many times
and it was the fans that request to come back. And then you're absolutely right. I feel like it just went down. I literally watched season 1 through season 14 a week ago during my injury. I had something go on with my body again, and so I was down for about 7 days. And my roommate's like, "Really? You watched Supernatural in like 6 days and finished all 14 seasons?" And I completely agree with you. I was dying, but I just had to finish it out because my niece. It's something that we communicate back and forth with, and so it's kind of one of those things where I'm trying to get myself back into family life. So dealing with my sister and her child and my parents and all that stuff, it's how I adapt and learned. I've always been one of those people where don't make fun of people until you've tried it. So it's one of those things where, so we have something to talk about over mac and cheese or, blah, blah, blah. So, all right, I'm getting off topic. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. And, yeah, I wasn't even aware they were at 14 seasons. But, how many times are you going to die in a show before it just gets stupid? And it got stupid after about season 4, in my opinion. So I just stopped watching it.
I don't know. It's worked for South Park for how many seasons? How many times are they going to kill that kid?
Oh, God.
Kenny's gone, supposedly. I remember watching South Park before I joined the Army, and then it was their movie that came out. I remember that, and I think a couple weeks ago I caught one episode of, season 13, but I'm more of a Family Guy, American Dad, Futurama. I don't know. I like those shows.
Yeah, and y'all heard, I'm sure, South Park predicted Trump.
Oh,
well,
no. Simpsons had him before anyone else.
Simpsons had him.
It was
way
Simpsons.
Back in the day.
It was Simpsons, not South Park.
Before 23 seasons. I don't even know what season Simpsons on now, but I remember
30.
growing up watching The Simpsons and that.
This is their 31st. This is their 31st season.
Oh shit.
So.
Yeah, okay. I just cussed, so we're on cussing mode now. It's fine.
Fucking A.
Oh, y'all killing me.
Well, you fired that question at me. So, how far does your guys' beliefs go within this paranormal field? What do you guys believe, and then how far would you go into that area? Obviously, you guys talked about Bigfoot and aliens and stuff like that, but what all have you guys chased down or tried to track down yourselves? Besides, a lot of people think paranormal is just about spirits.
Yeah,
so I want to say that first, and it's not. Nope.
So, team, go ahead and I'll wrap it up.
Okay, I'll go first.
Sure.
So I am what I consider an open skeptic. I am willing to believe or to listen to any theories, thoughts, items of interest that are out there. A lot of it I'm not convinced yet on some of it.
I agree.
But, okay, so vampires for me is a big hope they exist. And it's just a personal thing because I hope Anne Rice's version exists because when they get bitten, they get
Thank you.
beautiful and thin.
Is that what it is? It's the beauty part.
No, it's mostly the thin part. I can be ugly as hell. I don't care. But
well, in my mind, you're that way already, so you're good to go.
And if they could shave off a few pounds for me, I'd be happy.
Let's just hope that you don't get sparkly.
No, that's the wrong one.
I wouldn't mind that either.
Sparkly was Twilight. They ain't sparkly with Anne Rice.
But think about it. That's when you get become a vampire as a teenager. You get acne. Just pop out a few diamonds out of your skin. You're good to go.
You can pay for college that way too. I mean.
So, I do believe in spirits. I do believe in that we're not the only creatures out here in the universe. A lot of it as concerns to know what else is out there, I would have to actually honestly meet one to be fully convinced.
Okay, we'll make you astral team.
Oh, no, thanks. I'll stick to the tech side. I'm good.
Okay. Okay, Brett.
Okay. Well, I've always felt spirits around me, so I've always believed in them. And then, I, like you, Cole, I've always hoped that vampires do exist like that, like Anne Rice's version. But I'm kind of like, yeah, don't think so. Not like that. They don't grow teeth, but I know people drink blood and kind of stuff like that, so they're consider themselves vampires. And everything else, yeah, I pretty much fully believe in everything. Because, like, I've seen a werewolf in Astral, so I kind of have to believe in that. I've smelled a Bigfoot. I battled aliens astrally. I've kind of done some things where I know some other things are out there, and I've dealt with tricksters. Kind of basically everything that you see in Supernatural is real, except for the fangs. Not about Leviathan yet.
See, now, and so Tommy, so with Astral, the problem with Astral is we can't bring the evidence back because we're in Astral. Are you familiar with what Astral is, first of all?
Yes. So we did an episode a couple weeks ago asking to talk to people who can do astral projections and stuff like that, because both me and Mel are curious on this factor. We've had people, and it isn't to degrade or anybody like that, but and I'm not a scientist, so when I say scientific research, what I mean is the research behind it. We have a lot of questions. So offline, I would love to talk to your team and ask questions. Same thing with Mel. We just have a lot of curiosity questions because of the fact that, here it is, people saying this, and they can see certain things or go to different planes and stuff like that. But for me, seeing is believing. And I can believe in certain things. I definitely have seen UFOs. Have I seen aliens? No, I have not. But I definitely believe that there's other life out there. Bigfoot. There are historical facts of footprints in fur that aren't any known animal characteristics. And, before we came on, we were talking about a group that did a 6-part series on a podcast. And let me see. Astro Legends. That's what it is.
Okay.
And so they did a 6-part series about a certain video that was back in the day, and they proved that if someone made a Bigfoot video of the very first Bigfoot, it would cost them like $1.2 million. And they brought in, like I said, costume people and all that stuff. So it could not have been someone in a costume. So again, there's your evidence. But then why is the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, why are they always out of focus? And that's the next question is, do they have some kind of, I almost said improv. What in the world was I just thinking? I told you, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Like telekinesis where, maybe video or film is blurred out by them. Maybe they have some kind of adaptability like that.
So
kind of like I'm not saying a cloak, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so in answer to that, because you've got people that have, and we've beat this topic up on S4 over the years, but in answer to that, there's people out there that they've set up game cameras, and the game cams they'll pick up coyotes, rabbits, deer, whatnot, and all of a sudden the camera goes white, and you can hear the audio is still there, so it's not a camera malfunction. It's the environment of whatever the camera is picking up. Now, if it's an interdimensional creature, that will affect, and that will potentially make the camera go white, which is why I believe Bigfoot's interdimensional. If you look at Native American lore, they called Bigfoot the hairy man, and he was more or less a guardian. going by native lore. So I believe firmly, and it's only opinion, there's no scientific fact to it, but that Bigfoot is, in fact, interdimensional. Now, recently, they've also come out with, Bigfoot's aggressive. Well, there's, we have an alien race specialist on the show, too. He's not here tonight. But there is another race of Bigfoot that is off-world, or alien. And that is the aggressive one, and they look very similar to the common Bigfoot that we see here in the Pacific Northwest. So we do have a scientist on the team. He's a microbiologist, been in his scientific field for about 20 years. So if we get evidence, we send it to him. And we give tech ideas to him to come up with, which we haven't been able to come up with anything yet because of his work schedule. Go ahead.
Now, when you say evidence, and before I say this, it's the group that made it. I made a mistake. It's called Astonishing Legends. That's the podcast that made the 6-part series about Bigfoot. And you guys should take the time and look at this, especially since you guys are about this type of field. And it probably will bring some more insight into your guys' team. But anyways, so when you say evidence, are you saying like fur samples, stool samples, pee samples, sounds? That I get sounds and stuff like that, but evidence to me is like hard facts. Like, hey, I got fur.
Yeah.
I've got a blood trail. And then it goes off and gets tested and all that stuff, correct?
And that's the kind of evidence with Bigfoot I'm looking for. If I can get a scat sample, we've got an evidence kit that our scientists actually put together for us with specific standards on how to collect the evidence so it's not contaminated. And then we ship it to North Carolina where he is. And that way we have our own lab. So evidence doesn't disappear. Evidence isn't going to get lost, that kind of thing you see all the time. But yes, hard evidence. I don't even count a sound bite per se with Bigfoot as solid evidence. To me, it's got to be a hair sample, a stool sample, something like that. That's hard evidence to me.
So yeah, that's where I would go off of, and that's why I brought that up.
Right.
To me, it would have to be a hard, but even a hair sample, I would love them to clone that. But then also you said something about off-world or from another planet, like, i.e., George Lucas came up with Chewbacca. Would that be that kind of thing? And I'm a big Star Wars fan, so don't crush me on things, but I like to relate things to things. So to me, would that be considered? And I'm not saying that George Lucas took a Bigfoot, but something like that being off-world?
Yeah, actually, it's Steven Spielberg that do a Google search and look for Ronald Reagan and Steven Spielberg. Because Steven Spielberg showed Ronald Reagan, I think it was Reagan. Yeah, it was Reagan. They actually viewed E.T. in the White House. And when it was done, Ronald Reagan said, "Oh, that was great." And Spielberg told him, and that is very close to reality. And you'll actually find that that's actually well documented. And then, of course, I'm sure you know about Reagan's speech to the UN Council, where he talked about if there was an invasion outside of this planet, how fast the planet would come together. So, I mean, you've got, all these people are ranting and raving about disclosure. Disclosure happened in 1952 with the UFO flyover of the White House for a week that had, radar traces.
Well, it happened way before that when the supposedly weather balloon crashed down.
In Roswell.
But yet there was, but what was that, 40s? And then, but here's the other thing that I even brought up on our website was the alien autopsy. Some people say it's fake. Some people say it's real. But what's to stop the government from having like an MIB type statue that is unknown to the public? And I know it's a movie, but at the same time, get your minds really rolling with things. How long is the government behind this stuff, and what's to stop these guys from, coming here all the time and having special spots? I mean, 51 closed down and they moved it.
No, they didn't.
So, you don't think they moved it?
No,
because
I think they have
there's an actual multiple film crews that went to Area 51 and was all the way inside the bunkers and stuff, and nobody was there. This was years ago. Years ago. Now you're going to make me actually disconnect my phone and look this stuff up.
Oh,
I'm not
don't worry
even
about
kidding
it.
with
Don't
you.
worry about
I
it.
read these reports when I was with a different team, and it was brought up, and I started doing research on it. But there are multiple reporters during Area 51 closure. Area 51 closure. I'm typing it in Google because in the Army we call it Sergeant Major Google, because all the soldiers love to quote things from the internet.
Right.
And that's where they go, is to Google, and Google will give them the right answer, but sometimes they don't read the dates, and it'll be like 20 years old ARs, and they're trying to read it to us, and we're like, yeah, you need to look at like 2019.
Right. AR-67-1. The standards have changed, so you get the new copy. Yeah.
About nail polish, and I remember all this.
Yeah. That's news to me. I'll have to look that one up. Because last I knew, as recent as last year, they were still being run off by security.
Yeah, and I see articles dated as 2013 still going on, and then they're asking, is it still closed? But I literally came across multiple reports where reporters actually had pictures of the bunkers inside, taking pictures of the tarmac being empty and civilians actually on the tarmac. Matter of fact, no joke, but I can try to find it, but back in the day, and now they're called events, but electronical events were called raves, and there supposedly was a rave on Area 51. So let me try to look this up, because me being a DJ, you get to know these things.
Right.
So,
I have no doubt they moved it, but I always thought Area 51 was actually still active. But I, as far as, Area 52, I have no doubt they moved it. You've also got Pine Gap, Australia, which is very much like Area 51. And it's so far out.
Yeah.
You run out of gas. You can go out there with a tank of gas, but you ain't getting back home. There's a lot of hot spots. You've got, what is it? Dugway Proving Grounds, which is a bio lab. You've got a lot of spots that could have taken place very easily of what Area 51 was doing.
I would love to spend about a year in Roswell and probably all over New Mexico, Arizona, and I'm not going to say just live on the land, but obviously do film photography and that kind of stuff, because, like the Northern Lights, always being curious about the Northern Lights, but in that zone has been a hot zone for multiple UFO sightings.
Right.
I don't know about the whole abduction. I don't really fall on the abduction side. I'm pretty sure the only people who would ever anal probe anybody would probably be the government. And I don't know. But I would love sightings. Now, I talked about in Afghanistan for 30 minutes we saw two orange lights hover. And at first we thought they were star clusters or starbursts from the artillery guys firing for us. And these lights just hovered. They never dropped. And then out of nowhere, you just saw a streak of light go shooting straight up. Years before that, back in, I would say 99, I was traveling from West Virginia back down to North Carolina, and me and a battle buddy of mine, she was from West Virginia, of course I was from Virginia, we saw these two lights that changed multiple colors, and zigzagged throughout the sky, almost like someone was waving a flashlight. But these things were bright,
Right.
and at first we thought it may have been a spotlight, but they zigzagged up and down and diagonal, and all of a sudden they shot up in the sky too, and then they came back. Like 15, 20 minutes later, came back, did the same thing, and then was gone. So I have seen stuff that I cannot explain. And sure enough, you get what I'm saying? So definitely UFO material. But I would love to experience like lights and stuff like that and get a better close-up view. Go ahead. I keep rambling.
Oh, no, you're fine. That reminds me of the UFO that we saw in Iraq going over Syria. Now, it was triangular shaped. So I ran a pagan group in Telefar. And so two of the soldiers that were in our group, one was an aircraft mechanic. The other was a flight crew. So they know aircraft. And, they witnessed it as well. And that's not conventional. That's not one of ours. It could have been an experimental craft. It could have been. I'm not saying it was alien at all or extraterrestrial, but it definitely, going by personnel that knew aircraft, it definitely wasn't one of ours. Going by the light pattern, going by the way it acted, it was definitely a UFO by definition.
Well, that's like like the multiple pilots that just came forward on May 28th. They dropped out on News Channel 7, ABC. News Channel 7, their website, about the multiple, airplane pilots that have come forward with actual cockpit fitted film footage. There we go, of this. So, and we just talked about that too.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's undisputed. Like you can see it, but multiple people have always said they've seen triangles, or three lights, or a triangle-shaped machine. There's a, what is it called, UFOsightings.com that keeps up to date, and I think last month there was 12 different sightings in 12 different areas, not only of I like to jump around to different paranormal sites. 12 Bigfoot sightings, and then I want to say there was either 12 or 19 UFO sightings within that month.
You need to go to New Fork. So New Fork is the other, because we take UFO reports, Bigfoot reports as well with FMP. But New Fork is the site that we use. MUFON, in my opinion, sold out. The other, so you got George Filer, Filer's Files. You can Google his name. And
I think I've been there.
Yeah, he's good. And New Fork, which is Peter Davenport here in Washington. It's NUFORC.
And this had reports by Peter, but I don't remember the last name.
Yeah, Peter Davenport.
But
and that's newfork.org.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. So that's newfork.org is our main reporting center that we go with, because I know he hasn't sold out. We know that for a fact. So back to your question. So FMP was started, like I said, with our pagan group in 2004. It actually started in Balad, Iraq. And so the FMP team has been active since 2004. Dealing with spirits, dealing with UFOs. We didn't really get into the Bigfoot side of it until about, when was that, Thomas? When did we hear the Bigfoot knocks? That was 2016?
That was 16, yeah.
Yeah, so I always believed Bigfoot could be out there, but it really wasn't my field. It wasn't really my interest, so we didn't deal with Bigfoot. But when you hear the knocks and you know exactly what they are, and it just changes your mind. Now, you talk about tracks. I've got about a 14 to 16 foot plaster cast of a Bigfoot track here in my house. I've got, I've heard the wood knocks. Our scientist was here, and he heard his first wood knock. And I got a story for you. So with Astral, he was like you. He had to, he was a skeptic. He had an issue in his house. He's in North Carolina. Now, the Astral member, he had a paranormal incident in his house. So we got the Astral team. And the specific astral team member was blind, but he can see in the astral. It's different for everyone when they're astral. Some people see in color, some people see black and white. He was physically blind, but he could see in the astral. He called him, and he told him, so I see you have a portal. It's in your, let's see, third bedroom on the left side, down the hall in the closet. You can Google someone's house. You can't Google the inside of the house. He's telling Markham this over the phone, and Markham's going, how in the hell do you know this? Oh, wait, you're actually here, aren't you? So he made pretty much a scientist a non-skeptic about astral. And,
See, I just have a lot of questions, and it's not, again, and not to disprove anybody, it's just a lot of questions. Like, I love how you answered, black and white color, or, just a filter, or, like, is it here and now, or do they astral project into the future? That kind of stuff. Like, I have a lot of questions when it comes to that, and it's just curiosity, man. I love being curious. I love researching, and again, it's not to disprove anybody, but it's because my curiosity is intrigued. I want to know. I don't have those abilities. Growing up, you always get asked, hey, if you were a superhero, what would you want to be? And it took me a long time to figure this, but if I had the ability, and I got this idea from the movie Jumper, if I had that ability while I was in Afghanistan, I could have been home every night.
Right.
And I wish that I had that ability, but I don't. But that would be my one thing. But to have an ability like this, it went on record throughout the years that, humans only use 10% of the brains, that if we were to open it up, we would have telekinesis and all this stuff. But, there are video footage, and whether it's doctored, some people again said doctored, but of people moving, cups from one end of the table to another, or knocking stuff over on command, and stuff like that. So to have those kinds of abilities is to me another type of paranormal that I'm interested in, and I'm curious. So I would love to just pick their minds and stuff like that. So I think that's awesome that you guys have those counterparts within your team itself.
Now, anyone can astral. I mean, some of us are blocked. I'm blocked. I can't astral. But I'm not supposed to. I'm not meant to. But we do have a school. So if we'll talk offline. But if you're interested in taking the astral course, it is free. And it starts July 8th. You have to get a hold of Richard Benak, who's our instructor. And that, I have to announce that anyway, so it's not a big deal. July 8th is our next astral school. And you need to get with Richard Benak so he can give you some preschool information, some meditations you need to go through and whatnot to get yourself ready for it. It is all online, it's all on astral, and it's all on teleconference. And it's about 2 months. So once students graduate from the astral school, then they have the option of being screened for the team, and then they have to take the astral combat side, because you can astral, but astral is very dangerous. It can be. You can actually die, and your physical body will die if you get hurt in astral. But with that, we also teach astral combat, because we do combat aliens, we do combat malevolent entities. Again, I say malevolent entities because not everything's a demon. Demons are too overplayed. Everything's a demon on paranormal TV. Really irritates me because, some demons aren't bad. There's people that work with demons. We've actually made contracts with demons. Not all of them are bad. They really don't give a damn about humans. Some of them do. Some of them do have intentions of harming. But lower level demons can scratch, but so can spirits. Higher level demons, they don't scratch, they manipulate. They will cause you to commit suicide, for example. That is how they kill. That is how they harm. They don't have the time or the patience to go scratching humans. But in answer to your initial question, so FMP at the core is pagan. So when it comes to believing in fairies, yes. Being pagan, what non-pagans see as paranormal, we see as a normal everyday occurrence. Part of our belief system is spirits. Part of our belief system is conjuring. Part of our belief system is, working with energies. So fairies are normal. Gnomes, we did a fairy show last week, as a matter of fact. But the fairy realm is a normal part of life. Spirits are a normal part of life. Malevolent entities, again, a normal part of life in our belief system. Bigfoot, aliens, UFOs, not. But they're here. We know they're here. But and again, FMP is not all pagan. We've got Cole's Catholic, Chris and Brent are Christian. We've got Muslims. We've got Hindu. It's a broad spectrum. We're not all pagan, but it started out as a pagan group back in 2004. So that's Thomas. Did you want to answer? We have about 2 minutes before we have to go to break, and then we'll be back, obviously.
Oh, no, you pretty much covered everything I was going to say.
Okay. I think that's everybody. So, does that answer your question, Tommy?
Oh, yeah. But there's always more, if you get what I'm saying. But for right now, until I come up with more in my head, and I like to, so, again, I jump from thought to thought. I feel like I have 1,000 thoughts a second, where some people will be like, well, I was just thinking of this. So, literally, like, when you were saying about fairy worlds and stuff like that, and, you brought up about astral projection, but then, I have a lot of deja vu. So would that not be considered a type of astral projection?
No. So deja vu, just a nutshell answer to a theory, is do you believe in reincarnation?
I think so, and I would say yes to this.
So with deja vu, if you go with the reincarnation belief, deja vu. So reincarnation, basically, you come back every life, basically by choice. You can either, one spirit I discussed or talked to in Germany, for example, explained it this way, and I keep getting these pop-ups from my email, but he explained it this way. He was a World War II pilot that crashed in, where were we? Dettelbach, Germany. And you basically, when you die, you have the option. You can either go get in line to be reborn, or you can just stay and basically, for him, he enjoyed going to the bakery and messing with people. That's what he did. And so once a baby's, how do you explain it? So once a fetus is conceived, when you're in line, you become the soul of that baby, and you're reborn. So every time you're reborn, you have lessons to learn. If you have deja vu, that means you haven't learned the lessons of the last lifetime you had. That's a bad thing. So, and other people have the theory that deja vu is yourself in a parallel life, or, a parallel world. So, take your pick. Which belief do you want to follow? It could be either or. And so we got to go to break. When we come back, we will carry on this conversation, and then we'll start Roundtable.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We've had several days of 80-degree plus weather here in Concrete, Washington. My family's favorite way to keep cool in this heat is to stop by Java Zone 2 and grab a delicious iced latte for me and a blended mocha for my husband. Our son just loves their creamy milkshakes, and our daughter can't get enough of their ice cream. The best part is, Java Zone 2 is conveniently located just off Highway 20 beside Loggers Landing. And I'm proud to shop local for a business that has been a staple of the Concrete and Upriver community since it opened its doors in 2010. So if you're looking for a way to keep cool in this summer heat, come check out Java Zone 2. They're fast, friendly, and local.
Hello, my name's Cole Wegleitner with Statement of Sound DJ Productions. We do mixing, monitoring, recording, and editing for all your audio needs. For our local listeners in the Skagit area, we are taking bookings for your 2019 events and parties. We have a wide array of music from any genre. Please allow us to help you make these memories last forever. Contact us at 360-999-2830 or on Facebook at www.facebook.com/SOSDJPro.
Forest Moon Paranormal is a non-for-profit emergency response team that handles all aspects of the paranormal, helping you, your family, friends, and community since 2004. Whether you're having a problem with hauntings, spirits, Bigfoot, other types of cryptids, or UFO activity. Maybe you're just unsure of what's bothering or terrifying you. Or maybe you're just afraid of criticism and disbelief. FMP is here for you. We handle cases globally and locally from our headquarters in Skagit County, Washington. We never accept any form of payment for our services and are 100% confidential. You can find us on Facebook under Forest Moon Paranormal. You can private message us for assistance, or just come join in the discussion and become part of our growing FMP community.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Join us on September 28th at the Cedro Woolley Community Center for 2019 Forest Moon Paranormal Paracon. VIP All Access passes on sale now at fmparacon.com. Your pass includes all-day admission to see the speakers and workshops, the Ghost Walk, a special VIP workshop, a special roundtable with the speakers, a Paracon t-shirt, and an FMP Paracon swag bag. These tickets can be purchased from fmparacon.com. Get yours today.
Hey everyone, Cole here with S4 Paranormal Radio, the official voice of Forest Moon Paranormal. Looking for a way to get the word out there about your business, group, team, or product? Let us help you. A few clicks is all it takes to get started at s-4radio.com, or you can contact me at 360-999-2830.
Welcome back to S4 with your host, Eric Cooper.
Welcome back to S4. Tonight's June Roundtable. You can also find the archives at our Spreaker site and on the S4 YouTube channel for all the shows you missed in the last 3 years. Anyway, back to the show. And we were talking, so during the break, we were talking a difference between deja vu and being a precog. Precog is when you actually dream events before they happen. Deja vu is essentially stopping yourself because you've done it before. Are we still here?
Oh, we're still here.
Wouldn't that mean that anytime you have deja vu, you've also had a precog instance?
And that's what I was going to get up to next.
Okay.
So I'm glad that you said that, because that was going to be my next thing. Because, you know, like I said, I'm over here typing in Google and getting the definitions and stuff like that, and you know, they could relate together by both definitions. One's about the trials of already knowing what's about to happen, and the other one's about seeing events before they actually transpire that you've already experienced.
Right.
So they both sound pretty much exactly alike. So I think you guys are both saying the same stuff. So it's pretty interesting stuff. I like it.
Excellent. Okay, Brett, what's your first question tonight? Brett.
Hold on, give me 1 second. Make sure he's not gone.
Let's unmute it.
There we go.
Well, I was kind of hoping our Keith would be here for this, but like I said, I'll get everybody's opinions. What about off-worlders? It's off topic, but do they have pets besides humans?
Say that again?
Like, do off-worlders have pets? Like, we have dogs and cats and blah, 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 and what about
yeah.
off-worlders?
Okay. So, Keith actually talked about that before. So, Chupacabra, for example, was a pet that was essentially got off the ship. So, yeah, some of these cryptids that we hear about, and I can't remember all of them, but yeah, they were or are pets, and they were released accidentally, kind of like your dog gets out of the car and runs away. Chupacabra, things like that. Some of them are supposed to be off-world pets.
I remember him saying that now.
Yeah. Anyone else got an opinion? A theory?
I'm just thinking, what if like Earth is like the worst pet store ever? So that's why not that many of us are taken. And only a few of us don't ever get returned.
Well, then that would kind of be like, what if we were the pets at one time?
Yeah, that's what I said. What if
we all just got returned?
And first they tried cows, and that didn't work out so well. Like, they ended up inside out kind of thing.
It's a giant junkyard of animals.
Ooh, now Joe's got a good question in the chat room. Does Bigfoot have coyotes like humans have dogs?
Good question.
I think he protects all animals that are in his scope, but I don't think he would consider them his pets.
And I'd agree with that. And, so Joe's also asking, does Bigfoot are security guards for UFOs when they land on strange planets? Long in the past, few of the security guards walked off the job because they wanted to stay here. I don't think so. You've got two trains of thought with Bigfoot, and I've kind of changed my perspective a little bit based on I think he called him the Oahu, something like that. And that's the, I guess, race of Bigfoot that are more violent or more aggressive. And
those buggers.
Say again?
Those buggers.
Right?
Oh, wait, we can swear. Those assholes.
There you go. You've just been waiting. I can hear it. You've been waiting to say, fuck. But anyway. I agree. I don't see, and this has been brought up before, is Bigfoot Fey? I don't think so. I think Bigfoot is a guardian. I think he's a guardian of the forest or of the mountains. And again, getting to swamp ape, because you talk about the South and the swamp ape's always known as being aggressive. I'm sorry, 120 degrees in a furry suit, I'd be pissed off too. So yeah, of course you're going to be aggressive. I do think the language of Bigfoot is music. Because y'all remember the story Larry Anderson told about the guy that went up on the mountains here and was playing his guitar. He was nobody around. He played his guitar for like 2 or 3 hours. He left. He went back the next day, and there's a big pile of flowers right where he was playing his guitar. He got gifted a pile of flowers. So obviously Bigfoot liked his music. So you've heard of gifting sites, haven't you, Tommy?
No.
So if you go to a hot spot where there's a lot of Bigfoot activity and you leave they like marbles, they like Hot Wheels, they like marshmallows. If you leave a gift at a hot spot and you come back in a couple days or a week, oftentimes you'll find your gift that you left is gone, and in its place you might find a crystal, you might find a pretty rock. That's common. And it's called a gifting site. I've also heard people they'll hang CDs up in trees because they like shiny stuff. So So this year at Paracon, Bigfoot is actually our theme, so we'll have 2 different Bigfoot speakers actually coming to talk about it.
Were the flowers planted, or were they just laying there on the ground?
No, it was just a pile of flowers laying on the ground.
So it was a pile. Okay. Yeah. You just said flowers gifted, and in my mind, I'm just trying to think, were they already planted? Could have been the wrong spot. But if they're in a pile, that's a little bit different. I mean, someone picked those and laid those there.
Yes. And this is we're talking in the middle of the Cascade Mountains. There's no other people around. So it's not like a human was sitting there in the woods listening to his music.
Joe's got a good idea there. That's actually
I see that. You want to read that, Cole?
So Joe thinks he likes the idea of the CDs in the trees because if a Bigfoot doesn't take them, but they did look at them and touch them, you might get a fingerprint off them.
Mm-hmm. And there's evidence.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's an idea.
You just have to make sure that you wear gloves.
You got to hit when you put
so
them
that you don't end up putting fingerprints on them yourself.
Right.
But wouldn't that be messed up if you got took that fingerprint into the FBI and got a hit?
No, I don't think it would be messed up.
A grocery store robbery in the 70s?
Because that would be part of that collective data, and then with the FBI actually getting a hit on it, you would know that it wasn't Bigfoot, that it was this person. But then again, could that have person been transformed into what's out there now? Yeah, okay. I just, like I said, I'm curious. I have questions. I have lots of thoughts that run through, but, if I got hit by the FBI and it says, hey, Joe Smo that lives down here touched your CDs, then I would have to go off of that. But then again, what if the FBI is wrong and they're just hiding something?
Now, has your team ever looked at David Paulides' work, Missing 401?
No. I had... Not in this team, but another member of my other team at the time before it became MVP or broken down into MVP that did. I had a guy named Christopher Justice who this is his area that he questions everything, but it's not about a questioning, it's because that's his beliefs. He tries to find the best method, kind of like a fisherman.
Right.
Some fishermen's got to have the worm, and some people's got to have crickets. And I like the butter on bread technique. I seem to catch more fish that way than anything. Worms, for when I'm in big open water or even closed water, worm seems to be the better catch for me than every lure and everything out there. So, I see how Chris looks at things, and I love the way his mind thinks, and I like how you guys are thinking because it's bringing thoughts and how I do my research. But, if the FBI came up with a hit and it says human, I would lead towards that first than I would saying, all right, Bigfoot got transformed.
Right.
I don't know how you guys would think about it. How would you guys go about that if you got a hit from CODIS that says, hey, it's this guy from this place? Would you think that the FBI is giving you false a statement, false record?
Well, and I think that's where you actually need to have cameras in place as well around it, so that you don't,
That's awesome.
If it wasn't Bigfoot, then yeah, okay, the guy could have been hiding in the mountains and seen the CDs. It wasn't Bigfoot at all. That's kind of where my mind would go. You need cameras out or game cams out to pick up, because you're going to see, oh, it was actually Joe Schmo, and he was the one who touched the CD.
Now, here's another thing about game cameras and stuff like that. What's to stop them from seeing the infrared beams? I always ask this about, I was curious at a conference one time, especially talking about paranormal spirits.
Right.
What if they can see your lights? What if they can see the infrared?
Well,
I can see the full spectrum?
I have no doubt they can. And my personal opinion, you're not going to get a good picture of a Bigfoot anyway unless they want to be seen. I think that's why you always have, that's another reason you always have blurry pictures.
The whiteout and stuff like that, yeah.
Right. If they don't want to be seen, you're not going to get a picture. That's why they're the best hide and seek champion in the world. But, and I brought this up on your show actually too, is that, old school technology is the best way. Markham, in fact, is the one that's working on, he's the one that's working on reel-to-reel.
I love 8mm cameras. I love analog compared to digital. Digital reverses feed, and with the analog, why are we getting away from this type of equipment? And is it because it's just outdated and everybody wants the newer stuff? But why aren't teams using both series of both analog and digital, real and VHS cameras versus digital cameras and DVD cameras? You should have a makeup of every device out there so you could collect as much data from each device and see what actually is out there working. And that's the thing that we do. We do a lot of research in putting stuff out there in the field and stuff like that. So I'm glad you brought that up. Why are we getting away from the old school stuff and going all to this new technology stuff? Is it because it's easier?
For convenience. I think it's convenience, and everybody's got a cell phone now that's got a camera on it. But again, digital is manipulated by every aspect of the paranormal. So if it doesn't want to be seen, it's not going to be seen. If it wants to falsify your information or your photo, and that's why we also have a digital and photo analyst who's actually got a degree in media analysis. So if we want a picture analyzed, he's going to tear it apart and look for CGI. He's going to look for fake crap. If it's not manipulated, he's going to say, "Yep, there's something there," and you can see the shadow. Forever there was, and he pointed out some things to look for. Forever there was this picture that, look, they're actually making concentration camps in old Walmart buildings, and he had this picture, and I showed it to him, and he pointed out, well, if you look at the helicopter that's hovering above it, the rotors are still. If you actually had a helicopter picture hovering over a Walmart, there would be motion. So he points out the obvious.
Yes.
So, we have our own media analyst. We have our own licensed therapists, so we have our own psychiatric field. You know, and that's why we don't. We're not a technology based team. We don't go for the evidence. We go for the crisis. That's the purpose of the team. Every team has their own purpose. You got the evidence based, which is kind of what you guys are. You're the evidence based.
Well, we don't go off of evidence. We go off of data. Data is what we collect. So the difference between the evidence is, to me, is an actual find.
Right.
Like, you know, like detectives use evidence, actual facts, actual finds to catch the thief or the crook or the murderer. They use evidence. We collect the data and get that out to the community. Like you said, we have audiologists. We have, I can't think of the photographer side of it. Photographers, you know. We have all these different fields that we reach out to. Go ahead.
No, you have photo analysts.
Yes, there we go. And, you know, we reach out just like you do, but we don't have them embedded in our team so that they cannot. So basically, we show the community that they're not embedded with us. Mm-hmm. You know, we don't always send it to the same person. We send it out to multiple across their field and get that research, that their collective data back, their input back, and put it all into the reports, and then go forward with that.
Right.
But like Bigfoot, that's what I brought up earlier about Bigfoot, about the droppings, I almost said, man, my brain right now is fried. You guys got me good right now. So, you know, fur, the footprint, to me, that's not data, that's evidence.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's collective evidence. But, you know, we collect a lot of data, and that's how we are with things.
Now, when it comes to data, you know, something we brought up back in December, January, when we started planning what we want to see in the next year, which is obviously this year. But you have all these reporting sites. I haven't found any good Bigfoot reporting sites. But what we need is an app, and we've brought this up before. And have you heard from the guy that was building the app, Cole? I can't remember his name. Cole, you still here?
Hey, look at that. I'm on mute, too. He contacted me about 2 months ago. But since then, what he's looking for is not something we as FMP can provide. He is looking for someone to spearhead it and create a board of...
like up to minute, like, hey, right here, right there, everybody post up type thing?
Yeah,
well, no, he's looking for us to be like a president, a vice president, secretary, treasurer, and actually create a business out of it. That's not what we were looking for, and
and that's definitely not how our team is either. We're not...
Yeah,
so,
I agree with you guys.
What we need is a real time. So I'll use an example. I use Arso. Arso Edis sends me a pop-up every time there's a volcano erupting, every time there's a bio attack in Afghanistan, every time there's and I get it before it hits the news because it's real time. I get it as it's happening, as it's being reported. We need something like that for the paranormal. So if somebody's having an event happen, whether it's Bigfoot, an alien abduction, a UFO sighting, they're being scratched by a spirit, they report it, and we get a pop-up. If we have a team that's boots on ground next to them, if they're in Australia and I've got a team on standby, as soon as that pop-up hits, I've got a team rolling within 5 minutes. That's what
Eric,
we need.
I think you need to answer that question.
What?
Trips.
Would it be a bad idea to slip X-Lax into food for Bigfoot, hoping to get... well, if you want to piss off Bigfoot, sure. I think of the Slim Jim commercial. No, I'm not going to put X-Lax in food for Bigfoot. Just not going to happen.
Now, speaking of something like that, so let's say that you are out on your investigation with Bigfoot and you actually come across one. Would you leave it in the wild as it is and still keep on filming? But then once you post that evidence or the data that you post out there, wouldn't you be concerned that the government might try to track this thing down and capture it itself within that surrounding areas?
I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't post it. That's where we're different. I'm not here to and impress isn't the right word.
See, and that's how we are.
I'm not here for the publicity. I don't give a damn that I've got evidence Bigfoot exists.
Yeah, we would share it amongst the community,
right?
But it would never, like, we wouldn't leak it out and be like, hey, look, here's our footage on, not the stock show, whatever the morning shows are now, and be like, yo, our special guest, well, we caught Bigfoot. Here it is. We were in Washington Forest and, on top of this peak. And it was in this area that we got it, and we saw it go to its den at this location. And, yeah, we would never do that shit stuff. Yeah, there's mine. I just cussed.
That's fine. Like I said, so every show we do is marked as explicit, whether we cuss or not. Just in case somebody
No. You already said it was good to go, but literally, I try not to because you know how they say you cuss like a sailor, but I don't know what it is, but the F-bomb is like a normal word to us in the military, and for someone who's been in the military, you know what I'm saying. Cussing is like saying and the and saying.
And civilians don't get that.
It's like your normal common words.
Civilians don't get that. Oh my God, you need to stop cussing. No, fuck you. You know what? I'm 19 and a half years Army. I've done 4 combat tours. Fuck you. But no. So the other point of it, I'm not even worried about the government. The government doesn't give 2 shits about Bigfoot. They already know he exists. I mean, we've got counties here in Washington State where it's illegal to hunt and kill Bigfoot. What more proof do you want? The government knows they're here. My thing is, the minute you post, hey, I saw Bigfoot up on Hickman Range, you're going to have every Tom, Dick, and Harry wanting to go up there and find him. Why are you going to bug Bigfoot?
That was going to be my next thing is, once you post it out, wouldn't everybody just show up there?
Oh, God, yeah. I don't.
It reminds me of that movie, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where everybody showed up, whether they saw these 3 spaceships or not. They just showed up, but they only took the people that the spaceships actually interacted with.
Right.
My biggest issue.
So I would be worried about that, too, is because now you've got hundreds of people now scouring this peak in this area. For what reason? To become the biggest name?
No,
that's not what we do in this field.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with that is it wouldn't just be those guys. It wouldn't just be the Bigfoot community. There's lots of laws against hunting animals at certain times. It doesn't mean there's not poachers still. There would be men out there with weapons trying to take him down.
Yeah.
And there'd be hundreds of people shot because there would be other people who are just trying to get a picture or just trying to get their name out there, and they're the ones who are going to get shot by these guys.
Yeah.
Keep him as a rug next to his camp, his little fireplace and stuff like that. Yeah, I'd be more concerned about the welfare of the creature itself.
Exactly.
Than anything. And I think just because I'm a big animal lover, I know I'm not part of PETA, but I worry about that stuff. It's like our residents, when we do our investigations, I worry about them. We're very protective. And I'm not saying it's just the military side of it, because it's who we are as people. Some of us are protectors. Yeah. And I think a lot of us are in some aspects, I
want to get to a question from Trip. So would the ingredients GMOs put in food nowadays actually screw with test results, like coming back as human? And that's a good point. We have so much GMO crap in our food today. I wouldn't even be worried about test results as much as I would screwing with Bigfoot. I have no doubt that Bigfoot is an omnivore.
Maybe that's why there hasn't been a good photo of him in the last 20 years. He's been on the crapper.
Exactly.
He's already got diarrhea.
And it brings me to the
Well,
story.
you don't think he would eat the game that was out there within the forest itself? Maybe he hunts and traps, but also eats plants just like we do. What if he has the same metabolism as us? He's got plants and meats that he enjoys to eat, berries and small game. You never know.
Well, and I think it was last year. So we have blackberry vines around our house that are, a good. Well, Cole, you've seen them, and Thomas has seen them. They're a good 6 foot tall and they're thick. And we had a rooster about 2 years ago. Had a rooster 2 years ago. Something my father-in-law saw walked through the blackberries on 2 legs, grabbed the rooster, and ran back through these blackberries. I mean, and they're thick. Bears don't walk on 2 legs. It definitely wasn't a cougar.
Hey, Bigfoot
No,
wants
that's not
KFC
true.
too.
I've seen bears walk on 2 legs because they got it in almost every circus where they got them walking around. And I got it. They're humane how they've got these animals walking around. But I've seen bears walk several hundred feet walking on its back hind legs before.
They can. And, again, it could have been a bear. He couldn't tell what it was. He said it was tall. And he couldn't get a good description.
But a bear probably would have made a noise or tore it up right then and there and not just ran it back.
Right. And I found the feathers. And I mean, it grabbed up the rooster and it ran back through the same trail. And I saw the trail. It was a very, very defined trail that this thing ran back through. And these are thick blackberries. A human wouldn't be able to walk through it, although I've seen Somalis run through, concertina wire or crawl through concertina wire without a scratch on them. But, we don't have humans.
And I mean, honestly, I can't see a bear running back. If it was walking, maybe, but running, no.
Right.
And I agree with that.
And
running, no. Unless it's back on its all legs.
2-legged animal walking. It doesn't look the same in any way, shape, or form. When they walk on their hind legs, it doesn't look like a natural movement for them.
No. Talking about bears? No.
Yeah.
Bears kind of, when they walk, they kind of stagger because they're essentially off balance because they're not meant to walk on 2 legs. They're meant to walk on 4. But no, I
like
do agree.
Chris' analogy. It looks like a fat hillbilly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this show definitely
That's
is not
not
going
nice.
on.
Leave me alone.
There's too many fat hillbillies in well, yeah, anyway. But yeah, no, and I'm not arguing the point. Yeah, I know bears do walk on hind legs. I've seen videos of them as well. I've seen more bears here running on 4. And it brings me to the point. So when Steve saw his Bigfoot, he was cruising around a mountain road in his car and still not really sure how he surprised it, but it was crouched down in the middle of the road. And it looked back, it saw him. He was about as freaked out as it was when it saw him. It ran, and he accelerated he's doing like 40 miles an hour, and this thing was gone. It ran around the corner, and it's nothing but sheer cliff and embankment on the other side. So and we saw the tracks, and we saw the trail, so it obviously been using the same trail. But it ran on 2 legs. Bears don't run, as far as I know, on 2 legs. It was about 6-7 foot tall, so it was obviously a young Bigfoot because most of the adults are about 9 foot tall. But I don't think bears can run on two legs at 40 miles an hour.
You never know, Eric. Maybe it was just a midget of the bunch.
You're just full of jokes, not ain't you, Thomas? So, Thomas, what's your first question tonight?
Before we get to that, hold on one second.
Okay.
Eric, we forgot to do something. We should do it now.
What's that?
Right. So, as you told them earlier, we had bingo the other night, last night. And we had a lot of great prizes in the mix for the guys to win at the bingo. Friend, I got to say thank you to all the companies and local businesses that helped us out with prizes for that event. Friend, if anyone in local is listening, make sure you helped us support them. We got Coho Liquidation, we've got Cascade Pizza, we've got Roundtable Pizza, Mestizo Restaurant, Taco Alejante, I think that's how you say it. But most of the local Mexican restaurants helped us out. Everyone gave us some great prizes, and make sure you help support us or help us support them as they support us.
Outstanding. Yeah. Were you saying something, Chris?
I just said thank you all for the awesome questions.
Brent. And Trippin says, still think you need to do a chicken shit bingo. Actually, bingo is so eventful, we might, I say that emphatically, might do one in October after Paracon. Once we've unwound a little bit, because Paracon's our big event. So, real quick, too, S4, and we're big on public education. So S4 is part of that, as Paracon is. And it's funny because you wear your team T-shirt around, and it's got aliens with guns on the back. And how many people stop and say, wow, you've got aliens with guns on your shirt. What is that? And,
not enough for me.
You mean they actually say, hey, you got aliens and guns on the back of your T-shirt. What is that?
Yeah.
Like,
they do.
All right.
They do.
It happened to Eric last week.
It did.
Seriously.
It did. Yeah, well,
I'm puzzled at the... I'm just puzzled because, I do know people that literally is like, you buy that pizza, you bring it in, and then they're like, hey, you going to eat that pizza? No, I just bought it so I could smell it. So I
just figured I'd buy it and look at it.
Especially when you're at like an event like that,
Well, this was actually standing
I'm sorry
in the
for
grocery.
laughing.
No, this was standing in the grocery store.
It might be just the early morning stuff.
We were in the grocery store checkout, and this guy was, wow, what's your shirt mean? And, well, yeah, it's a conversation starter. We're Forest Moon Paranormal. We're an emergency response team. Oh, wow. And it's like, yeah, we don't go to Northern State. We don't go to hotspots. It's not the purpose of this team. This team is only pretty much responding to those that are having a crisis situation involving the paranormal. So, yeah, it's a good conversation starter. So, Thomas, what is your first question tonight?
Okay. How do you guys think ley lines affect the paranormal?
Oh, you just had to bring that up, didn't you? So, ley lines, I don't think, you might know something about this too, Tommy. I don't think they've been scientifically proven, although I do know they're there. And I do believe you'll find, and this is something I wanted to bring up earlier, is what our team's been wanting to do is to get a large map and do an overlay and make UFO sightings, say, red, Bigfoot reports, maybe blue, and hauntings in another color, and see the comparisons. put pins on these maps and then compare them to ley lines and see if the hot spots, say Area 51, say Skinwalker Ranch, some of these normal natural phenomena actually are at intersecting points of ley lines. And see if there's similarities in certain areas, like in our mountains. Is there a heavy amount of UFO reports, Bigfoot reports, and hauntings in the same areas? So, yeah, that's something I'd like us to eventually get done.
I would like to say that I'd like to see the data on that.
Yeah.
Because that's a good point, because as far as I'm understanding, the things that I've read is electrical output, magnetic force through these lines. And that's a very curious thing, because, I mean, we got latitude and longitude that we use, military-wise. We've got 3 norths, if you've ever used a map.
Right.
And then you got true magnetic, and then, and grid. But, what if these are the way things move? Ants use basically a tunnel system through their smells.
Right.
Their antennae moves around after the leader, the point man, makes the smell path on the way. So if that smell disappears, that means he fell off, off a branch or something. And so they know to get away from that area to move around, to try to find a different area. So I wonder if it's the same aspect. I would love to see the data on this. But that's as far as I know, That's a good question.
You look at David Paulides. So David Paulides has these, he has maps, and he has clusters where people have turned up missing. Some clusters, some areas have more missing people than others. So that'd be another thing. You take David Paulides' data of these missing people's clusters, and you'll see if there's UFO clusters as well in the same areas, as well as Bigfoot reports. Because personally, I don't think Bigfoot's taking people. I would put more credence in our government taking these people than Bigfoot, for example. And Paulides has never actually come out, I don't think, and he doesn't put his own opinion into it. He brings out the information.
Bigfoot would be the perfect fall guy.
Well, that's also on the same lines of like the Devil's Triangle or the Bermuda Triangle, that kind of stuff too. Years, ships, planes, all that stuff has just disappeared.
Yeah.
Some think they just sank down to the bottom of the ocean, but there's why is there a magnetic field within this triangle that's causing interference? And that's been proven. Just on the outsides of it, it's been picked up on it. So there's a lot of theories about this. And I would love to see all the research data if someone was to ever collect it like that.
Well, one of the scientific tools that we've got Markham, I fed Markham what I wanted to see done, would be to take a satellite dish, like, Dish Network, like you see for TV, and basically make it a magnified EMF detector and mount it to the top of a truck and hook it into, say, a laptop. So you can actually see if you can pick up ley lines, see if you can actually pick up UFO report, UFO sightings. See if a magnified EMF meter through a satellite dish would actually be able to pick anything up. Because, EMF meters are too small, obviously. But if you increase the range through a satellite dish, I'd be curious to see what you would come up with.
Well, you would need a power source enough to push that range too.
Right.
So, I mean,
well, that's the joy of it.
Still, that's a good idea. It's good, curious, but again, we're a nonprofit organization. We don't, and we've already talked about it earlier on the show. We're not out trying to collect money from anybody. We're trying to So getting that money together to build something and to keep trying it. Like right now, what is it? EMP guns. Have you there's a video of a guy who builds it through a flashlight, and I had to tell one of our guys who wants to build one to try to knock down all the EMP that's within, buildings and stuff. And I told him, I was like, do you realize that even this flashlight that's built as an EMP is only for several inches? To build one big enough, you would literally knock out city blocks. And then now, because you've knocked out city blocks, you just screwed over everybody. And now we're dealing with heavy traffic of maintenance and police crews, responders, and all that stuff. So now you just contaminated the whole area.
I want
of
one.
The investigation because of noises and stuff. So go ahead.
Well, I want one just to knock out these damn trucks and leave the bright lights on. That's what I want one for.
All right, so I drive a Honda de Soul. I got a Dodge Ram 3500 dually that sits up high, but my de Soul sits literally several inches from the ground. And so when you talk about car lights and truck lights, they hit my rearview mirror and it's done. Like I'm just blinded. Or oncoming traffic, it's even worse.
We've got these pickups. They don't have 2 headlights. They've got like 4. And then they have their fog lights on. It's like, why the hell?
Oh, and then the mounted racks.
Yeah.
The tree lights and all that stuff going on. Yes. I know what you're talking about.
It's like, why the hell?
What they're called.
I want an EMP gun for them.
Trip says now we're back on the Fed's watch list.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
You know what? I don't think we ever left it, so I think we're okay.
You know what? No, I've got people I can call to get us off the watch list. I'm not too worried about them.
It's no fun to not be on it.
Yeah, leave me on there.
They pull
Come
up
on,
here.
turn on the webcam. See me naked. Go ahead, guys.
It'll get us more views on S4.
Right. Hell yeah. Okay, so I think we've hit ley lines. Cole, what's your first question tonight?
Okay. How many people have heard of the Dogon people?
Is that the tribe in
which
Africa?
People?
That is the tribe in West Africa in the region of Mali. That they're one of their main rituals that they do is they worship the Sirius constellation.
Yep, the dog star.
Yes. So there is some research that has been done in the past that states that they knew about the fact that there was actually 2 stars, one dwarfing the other, which are Sirius A and Sirius B, before the use of telescopes.
Yep,
what are your guys' thoughts?
I'm very familiar with the Dogon tribe. In fact, I believe there's a missionary that went out to Africa and actually met the Dogon tribe. But yeah, and they're not the only ones. You've actually got here in Death Valley in California, you've got tribes that talked about the alien races that lived inside the mountains, in caverns. So yeah, there's many. Ancient cultures that have actually worked with off-worlders. And yeah, Tripp's bringing up the Aboriginals.
Mayans with the time calendar, the pyramids. Stuff like that. And I'm not saying because of Stargate. What I'm saying, though, is a lot of people don't know, but every block on the pyramid is identical to all sides to each one of those blocks that made the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to figure it out because, like today's society, if we're going to build a brick, we use wood to build the shape and then pack it with dirt or cement and then literally take it apart. But these things are bigger than that. And the lumber and stuff to make these things, they would have to have a lot of casings and then break apart and then fix it. But to build multiple pyramids like they did, the same size, the same width, look at their traps and secret doors that they have. I mean, they're still invasive. I had a soldier who's from Egypt, who brought me in an article one time when she went back there to go visit her family, that literally they're still finding secret rooms and stuff within those pyramids. So I think we're talking about the same thing when you say, different tribes dealing with different alien races. This is on that same track, that same note.
Right.
How?
Well, you've got Quetzalcoatl in Mexico, that the pyramid. I believe that is ancient Mayan, where when the sun hits it just right, you can see the snake, because they worship the snake. You can see the snake coming down the steps, and there's no way humans built the pyramids. That's just they can. You've been watching Ancient Aliens, haven't you, Cole?
Yes. Season 1 through 3 in like 2 nights.
I need to find Bob Lazar's
I think I've
video.
only seen some of season 1, and I don't want to lie, and I want to say it was like 2010. It might have been earlier, but that's as far as I've seen Ancient Aliens.
Trips in the chat room. He says the people in power don't want that knowledge to be mainstream. They are having enough problems trying to keep people.
Well, it's already mainstream. It's been out there. It's been on several. It's been on several sites and videos and documentaries and all sorts of stuff.
Right.
So it's out there. It's
Right.
just for us to
Absolutely,
go out there and research and grab it and find it.
So there's a lot of people who say that the first visitors to these people, like the Dogons, were the ones who actually told them that this was the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So in the early 1800s, or late 1800s, after the use of telescopes, they actually went to these islands and told them that there was 2 stars there. And the problem that, like, with the Dogon that they're having is the fact that there are so many different sects within the actual people itself that they all don't agree on the history.
Mm-hmm.
Which, when it comes to unwritten language storytellers, that can happen.
Talk about unwritten language and storytellers. The Dead Sea Scrolls or even the Bible still being translated.
Absolutely.
And they're finding clerical errors within the Bible now that has been translated for over centuries. They're finding clerical errors within that.
Don't say that too loud. Don't say that too loud. That's going to take the control away from the church. Shh.
Well, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We're live right now.
Oh, I know.
I could whisper it. No, but on a serious note, this has come out. I got the chance while I was in Korea to actually see some of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and it was a phenomenal sight. So, it's amazing how you're right. We've lost languages over the years, and we're still trying to translate or make a ciphertext to translate what it is. I don't know if ciphertext is the right word, but I like how it sounded. But to translate, different things. Hieroglyphics and writing and talk about writing, but they're now bringing back in cursive. My son for a long time couldn't read cursive.
No,
and it was something that I trained him over the years to get ahead of himself, and he just started college, and that was one of the courses was basic cursive 101, like for college. My youngest son is literally starting kindergarten, and they're doing cursive now again. But my daughter is, she's 10 and still hasn't learned any.
Yeah, and it's kind of frustrating because they took cursive out of the schools. Cheyenne, our daughter, is just now wanting to learn it because, she's just, we kind of encourage our kids that way anyway. But yeah, and it's good if they bring it back. They need to.
But it's just falling on the lines of written languages and what about foreign vocabulary words or talk?
Right.
You know, we have so many foreign languages now, but how many foreign languages were back then? I mean, go ahead.
No, you could even look at, you know, you have to talk about, even in languages, you have to talk about the dialects, because every country, you know, Germany has how many different dialects of German?
Wow. Yeah. So I learned the Kuwaiti dialect, and at the time I didn't know, when I took my Arabic for 3 months when we were pushing into Iraq, that the dialect that I learned never helped me when I hit Mosul. All right, so some of my Arabic worked in Mosul, Iraq, but there's over 200 and something forms of Arabic dialect.
Right.
And it's amazing how some of it will, you know, translate over. One of the pizzerias here is run by an Egyptian, and he understands my dialect almost to the T, and there are certain verbiages or certain characteristics of the words that are just a little bit different, but it's close enough where we can speak back and forth, and it really trips people out when we start speaking Arabic together. It tripped his wife out, who's Egyptian, and she was like, "You're white, how do you know Arabic?" Like, she literally asked that one time. But I agree, and I'm glad that you brought this question up, and it's translated like this, because it's all that same thing, you know? Trying to translate what people are saying is different. It's kind of like, you know, girls and guys. Like, sometimes, you know, your wife might think you're a mind reader, but you're not a mind reader. But you can tell by the body language when she's pissed off at you. You know, that's a different type of verbiage.
Yeah, that's the unspoken verbiage.
I'm just trying to relate. Like I said, I told you guys, I relate to stuff that's simple, and it's not just for the audience itself, but so that my mind just keeps going to dive. Not really like dumb it down, but try to have a relation or a core so other people can chime in.
And real quick, so we have two questions. So Lisa, and yeah, it's scrolling up. So Lisa says, is dialect like accent? No, a dialect's a completely different. In German, anyway, if you go to Bavaria, you've got one form of German. If you go to Bayern, it's a completely different language.
It would kind of be like cursing. So, Scheiße. You know, it means shit.
Right.
Well, there's two different languages. But so Arabic, if I say Bashana Bashana, in Afghan, that means shoulder to shoulder. But in a different area of Afghanistan, it could be something different in a dialect. So you have to be careful what you say sometimes, because you could tell somebody to go eat an apple. Or, you know, go toss a spoon, and they'll be like, "What?" And then just look at you. So, and it's really difficult, especially when you're overseas and you don't have a translator, and you're trying to communicate with somebody who speaks a whole different series of dialects, or it's rough.
Right, and you know, like all soldiers are taught, you don't ever give them the thumbs up.
I got a perfect
symbol.
idea of a dialect. Spanglish is
there
a dialect.
There you go.
It's English and Spanish combined together.
Yeah.
So that would be a dialect. Ebonics would be a type of dialect.
Right. So Nathan wants to know, did most soldiers have to learn Arabic, or was it higher ranking people? So it actually depends on what your job is, what your MOS is. You know, we didn't learn Arabic. We learned culture. Every soldier learns, well, most soldiers learn...
Yeah, everybody goes through culture, and they learn certain writings, and they learn certain words. So I was in E5 when I went through. I had, which is a sergeant, but I also had privates in E4s with me. And it all depends on who got tasked with learning the culture and learning that language at that 3-month course.
Yeah.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just trying to define it. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're fine.
I did interrupt you though.
You're fine. You know, but our whole battalion had to learn Arabic culture which basically that doesn't teach you the language, that teaches you what not to do. So you don't give them a thumbs up sign because that basically means fuck you. Things like that. Things that'll get you in trouble, you learn. So you don't do it. You don't want to escalate an already volatile situation just for being there. But
kind of like don't shake the right hands because that's what they wipe their butt with.
Right.
You want to shake left. But my 3 months learning Arabic, you had to learn Sanskrit, so you learn how to write and understand their lettering and their numbers. So it gets a little bit more detail compared to culture. If you come here to the country, I have a different culture from what you guys might be adjusted to being in Washington. And so I have to learn your guys' culture and what you guys do.
Right.
Let's see. I think it's Alabama. You can't put cream on pie, whipped cream. It's weird like that. We say taters where I'm from. I'm looking out my car windows where I'm from. You guys say windows.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's a different type of culture. And of course, we say oil, washer and dryer. I can't even pronounce that right. Washer. There he is.
Yep.
We say washer. So, yeah, it's different cultures. Where I grew up, we make moonshine here. That's a culture. It's natural.
Moonshine's good.
So
and real
it's our
quick,
culture, but
we do have to go to break, but I do want to clarify this real quick because Lisa's asking Sanskrit. She thought it was a dead language.
it is a type of dead language. So it is, the language is, but Arabic or the type of writing can be considered Sanskrit as you write.
Right.
So there is a Sanskrit language. That is a dead language.
Oh, right. So on
the
that,
voice part of it's dead. Don't people just come up with random sounds for the letters?
Yeah. And on that, we are going to go to break. So we will be back, and then we'll carry on with Roundtable.
You are listening to S4 on Spreaker.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We've had several days of 80-degree plus weather here in Concrete, Washington. My family's favorite way to keep cool in this heat is to stop by Java Zone 2 and grab a delicious iced latte for me and a blended mocha for my husband. Our son just loves their creamy milkshakes, and our daughter can't get enough of their ice cream. The best part is, Java Zone 2 is conveniently located just off Highway 20 beside Loggers Landing. And I'm proud to shop local for a business that has been a staple of the Concrete and Upriver community since it opened its doors in 2010. So if you're looking for a way to keep cool in this summer heat, come check out Java Zone 2. They're fast, friendly, and local.
Hello, my name's Cole Wegleitner with Statement of Sound DJ Productions. We do mixing, monitoring, recording, and editing for all your audio needs. For our local listeners in the Skagit area, we are taking bookings for your 2019 events and parties. We have a wide array of music from any genre. Please allow us to help you make these memories last forever. Contact us at 360-999-2830 or on Facebook at www.facebook.com/SOSDJPro.
Forest Moon Paranormal is a non-for-profit emergency response team that handles all aspects of the paranormal, helping you, your family, friends, and community since 2004. Whether you're having a problem with hauntings, spirits, Bigfoot, other types of cryptids, or UFO activity. Maybe you're just unsure of what's bothering or terrifying you. Or maybe you're just afraid of criticism and disbelief. FMP is here for you. We handle cases globally and locally from our headquarters in Skagit County, Washington. We never accept any form of payment for our services and are 100% confidential. You can find us on Facebook under Forest Moon Paranormal. You can private message us for assistance, or just come join in the discussion and become part of our growing FMP community.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESSA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Join us on September 28th at the Cedro Woolley Community Center for 2019 Forest Moon Paranormal Paracon. VIP All Access passes on sale now at fmparacon.com. Your pass includes all-day admission to see the speakers and workshops, the Ghost Walk, a special VIP workshop, a special roundtable with the speakers, a Paracon t-shirt, and an FMP Paracon swag bag. These tickets can be purchased from fmparacon.com. Get yours today.
Hey everyone, Cole here with S4 Paranormal Radio, the official voice of Forest Moon Paranormal. Looking for a way to get the word out there about your business, group, team, or product? Let us help you. A few clicks is all it takes to get started at s-4radio.com, or you can contact me at 360-999-2830.
Welcome back to S4 with your host, Eric Cooper.
All right, welcome back, folks. Welcome back. So, tonight is June Roundtable. You can also find the archives at our Spreaker site on the S4 YouTube channel for all the shows you've missed in the last 3 years. Anyway, back to the show. So, where were we?
We were talking about Sanskrit right before we got off.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm in Cape Horn.
That's right. So I think that got answered. What's your next question, Tommy?
All right, so let me pop open my phone. Oh, it's so bright. All right, would religion be considered paranormal?
I don't. We've done a show on UFO cults because there is such a thing. You look at George Applewhite with Heaven's Gate. You've got different. I don't. Other than the UFO cults that were formed, I can't think.
Now I'm talking about religion, as in like, let's go with Christianity. You've got Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Right.
You supposedly got angels and demons, right? And we just talked about demons earlier. Would that be considered paranormal? Or you got Wiccans.
Right.
You've got pagans that see fairies and stuff like that. Would religion itself be considered paranormal?
I don't. That's a good question. I don't think so.
No, I would have to agree with Eric. It doesn't at all because
that goes with faith.
Nobody's seen them.
Anything.
I mean, we've seen demons, but again, paranormal is what? Things that we believe in that sometimes we don't see.
Real quick,
it's just food for thought, man. It's just out there. I'm just throwing it out. There's no wrong answer to this. So it's not that I'm here to disprove. It's just a curious question that I I've asked Mel, and Mel literally has been like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's a hard one. It's a hard one to define. But I like Lisa's comment in the chat. I mean, they all have an element of paranormal, and yeah, they all have an element. But the only beliefs that believe in demons is Islam and Christianity. So with that, I consider Catholics falling into Judaism, Christianity. But the Hindu doesn't believe in demons. The pagans, we don't believe in demons, other than they're malevolent entities. And there's a whole spectrum of malevolent entity types. But you look at Christianity. So I was born and raised Assembly of God. I went to Christian school my entire life. I went to Jim Swigga Bible College for a semester. I was immersed in Christianity. And to them, and even growing up, if it wasn't of God, it was of the devil. It's a demon. Aliens.
I only laugh because my mom is very Christian.
Right.
Very Christian.
But a demon could walk up to you and shake your hand and, oh my God, it's a demon. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And, it doesn't work.
I rebuke you, Satan, is what my mom used to say.
Right.
I don't want you to say that to me, though.
But is religion paranormal? I agree with Lisa's comment. They all have elements of the paranormal, because if you look at faith, if you look at, what do they believe in? They believe in a deity that you can't see. They believe in that deity based on faith. Whether it's God, whether it's Morrigan, whether it's the pineapple sitting on the counter. If you believe that the light switch is going to turn the light on, whatever it is, you believe it's going to happen based on faith, not on flesh and blood per se, because there is no. Well, I guess, don't the Catholics have the crying statues, Cole?
Yes.
So, has anyone ever done a DNA sample of the crying statue?
The blood from the tears?
Yeah.
Isn't that supposed to be the tears of
stigmata?
As far as I know,
but it's not. So
it's the tears of the no, stigmata is different.
Yeah.
But,
no. So what I mean by stigmata is there is a element in stigmata, and I'm not talking about towards the person itself, and I'm not talking about the movie, but where the statues will actually cry tears during the phase of supposedly the stigmata. Now, the Catholic Church, and I only know this is because my uncle is a Catholic priest, that he's brought up about the testing of tears from the statue. And I brought this up 20 years ago when we were talking about something, and he said that there are special elements within the Catholic community and that does test things like that. But I don't know of any DNA stuff. I don't know about the rest of you guys, so I'd like to know your guys' input.
On that one, I agree with him. The Catholic Church does test them, and they may do DNA testing, but they would never allow an outside source to test it.
Right.
Agreed, and that's exactly what he said.
Now, as to your original question, the paranormal is defined as denoting events or phenomena such as telekinesis or clairvoyance that are beyond the scope of normal scientific understanding. Now, although religion is not scientific in most cases, it is not beyond the scope of normal understanding because it is so widespread across the world. Religion is in every. Okay, there's some.
But it came from somebody else's perspective, just like the way we look at Bigfoot, ghosts, Koopa Cadre, Koopa. Wow, really? We're gonna start this tonight, this morning, dude. I'm telling you, it's like 4 something in the morning right now.
Right.
And I'm faded. I'm not tired, but I've been up for 3 days now because I thought the show was last night. But you get what I'm saying. Like,
yep.
Because of somebody else's beliefs, and now we believe it, and we're passing that belief on to somebody else who now believes it, or they have their own beliefs that come in. And so we're passing that same kind of information. It's kind of like folk tales. Like, so me, mom, papa, my grandparents, do folk music that has been passed down from generation to generation. And, I record her doing these folk songs so that I can pass it down to the family itself, to my kids. So it's been passed down. Same thing about religion. It's been passed down.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I don't know. And I agree with your viewer there that there are elements that I feel could be, but it's just that pondering question that's always been in the back of my mind. Like, could it be a type of I guess not a type, but there are elements. So I agree with your viewer that there could be elements within this. It could be, but your definition falls exactly like hauntings to me. If you read the definition of haunting, it doesn't fall in the parameters of people who go ghost hunting and say they caught, this place is haunted. Hold on, see if I can't pull up haunting.
I got it.
Meaning.
And Trippin says science debunks the miracle of the Weeping Madonna, independent.co.uk/news. And I can't see the rest of the article, but yeah.
Yeah, so haunting goes underneath the Simpsons of possessed, cursed, jinxed, ghostly, eerie, unearthly, and it keeps going, spooky. So it says tormented, anguished, troubled, plagued, obsessed, worried, disturbed, and that would be where our mental anguish is the biggest word that's in there for haunted. But where did you get this? Like, where did you see this at? And so definitions and meanings have changed throughout the years of how people see things or how they gather their information. A lot of it's just word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And then we gather that word of mouth, and that's what we go off of is word of mouth instead of researching and actually going into it. So, and I cut off one of the speakers that's on the show, and I apologize again. So I'd like to hear your guys' side on this.
Cole, go ahead.
So the problem is the idea of religion would not be considered paranormal. But almost every aspect of the actual act of religion is. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, I follow you. I'm following exactly what you're saying.
So, just like the idea of a haunting would be considered paranormal, but the act of a haunting wouldn't.
Yes.
Because a haunting can also, like, the haunting, that's not the only definition of it. Something can be hauntingly beautiful, meaning not easily forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's scientifically proven that can happen. Therefore, that's not paranormal.
No, paranormal is anything outside the normal range. And we get in this fight with other paranormal groups. Why are you posting alien and Bigfoot stuff? That's not paranormal. Well, yeah.
Yes, it is.
How is it not? So a UFO by definition is simply an unidentified flying object. Doesn't mean it's extraterrestrial. It could be experimental aircraft. It could be a meteor. It could be a planet. But by definition, a UFO is not normal. Bigfoot, cryptids,